Okay, let's get into this challenge quest. This went down pretty easily, and that seems to be the case for a lot of challenge quests moving forward, which makes me wonder, now that we're going to get into the Lufenia era, all these challenge quests are still going to stay at Chaos difficulty, if I'm not mistaken. So does that mean that challenge quests are just going to be easy peasy for people who have, like, any synergy units at all? I don't know. So, I mean, some of them, like that first one, for example, was probably more difficult. I mean, the only healer they gave us was Kate Sith, which he gets the job done, but he's not the best. Some of the other synergy choices were odd. You know, Tifa being synergy for the first challenge quest at a fight with 3 targets that you can't launch. Seemed like an odd choice. But I don't know. Well, I guess we'll just see what happens. Speaking of Tifa, that LD she got, wow! They just gave her a whole burst, basically. Damage-wise, it's incredible, and I'm really happy. Tifa's one of those characters that I always wanted to invest in, and I did invest in. Right off the bat, in the Chaos era. Yeah, back when she got EX+, I used her constantly. I always knew she was going to be good, but she was that character for me that ended up being a lot better than I thought she would have been, even though I already had high hopes. She definitely exceeded all of them. See, this is a weird time, because this, as far as I know, is the last Chaos stage before we get Lufenia. So that makes me want to just ask you guys, what were your favorite memories from the Chaos era? I have plenty. I don't know if I can narrow it down to just one, so I'll just kind of leave the conversation open-ended. Like, yeah, I'm curious about favorite memories in general, favorite bosses, favorite characters that you've invested in, characters that ended up surprising you, that you ended up using a lot more, characters that ended up being disappointments. Yeah, there's a lot to go over. Character that surprised me, or at least exceeding expectations, like I just said, was Tifa. Favorite memories. One of my favorite memories from the Chaos era was when we first got Bosch's Chaos, because I got to use Garland, and I remember back then, Garland, a lot of people kind of just skipped him, and it made sense because Ulti was like a couple days after, and resources are limited. So yeah, I'm not judging anybody, because let's be real, meta-wise, between the two of them, Ulti takes the cake, no questions asked. So it made sense for people to skip Garland, but it was cool actually bringing him to a fight and just seeing him not just... It wasn't one of those situations where it's like, yeah, Garland's good, he can be used. No, it wasn't just can be used. He absolutely decimated that fight, and it was beautiful. He did that a few times, and I didn't expect him to. Okay, you know what? He might be another one that exceeded expectations. I'd say Garland. Characters that, at least for me, didn't really live up to it. I'm gonna say Sephiroth. And I say that now, but I'm probably going to chase his burst and his LD anyway, because I'm a huge Final Fantasy VII fan, so I'll probably just pull anyways, because it's Sephiroth, I have to. Yeah, there's a lot to go over, I guess. I really enjoyed this era. I thought it was a great time. I like how they made almost everybody good. Pretty much anybody was viable if you just built good teams around them. Obviously, some were better than others. That's how this game always is. But yeah. This fight, though, they really just kind of go down. Not really much to worry about at all. You know, they get into these auras. There's some damage reduction, which is annoying, but we're not in any danger at all. You never are with Kefka here. Plus being able to just re-break like crazy with Strago, insta-break with Strago, delay with Emperor, it's nice. It's a good setup, I'd say. The other good memories that I have are the Chaos co-op duos that Schwifty and I did. Those were a lot of fun, putting those together, running through those stages, trying to figure out stuff that worked. Those were great. Trying to think more into it, like I'm kind of drawing a blank here, but I know there's plenty more plenty more stuff that I really enjoyed. In general, I just thought this era was great. Believe it or not, I know this is probably going to be one that I think a lot of people would disagree, but I actually really liked Kieran's Chaos. The one with like those giant bears with that awful HP sap. I mean, that fight totally sucked. Those things were cheap, but that's kind of why I liked it. It was challenging. Like, it wasn't, especially just from looking at the groups and stuff. And no, I'm not sitting here like enjoying the misery of others. It's not where I'm getting at, but that was one of the chaoses that I saw a lot of people started struggling again, because it was range resist and people had been used to like stomping stuff with RNA for a while, which is great. I mean, it made perfect sense to do that. But if you didn't have like Imperil and Chance, which I'm pretty sure at that time our only real option was Lulu, like, yeah, if you didn't have her, it's like, okay, I can't use RNA for this. I gotta figure out another team that can get through this. I ended up using, I had Synergy, so it worked out well for me. But that's when Lael got EX+, which I purpled instantly. I used Lael, Yuri, and Zac with a Setzer friend to just pop that freeze Joker so that they couldn't battery up and kill us. Do you guys remember Setzer friends? That seems like it was a long time ago. People using Setzer friends. Another character for me that, this might be an unpopular opinion, but for me that I don't think lived up to all the hype was General Leo. I hate to say that because I love General Leo, but I'm trying to think of an instance other than summon board farming where I really use him. And obviously it's different now because power creep, but even back then, even at the time, it was weird the way that they brought him out. So, okay, he comes to us with Chapter 8 along with Galuf. A lot of the discussions seem to be like Leo was the real prize. That's just kind of the sentiment that I saw. I don't think that ended up being true at all. I would say that Galuf definitely lived up to be the better investment between the two of them. And yeah, it was almost like, okay, they give us Leo, and then his whole kit is designed around single target damage, right? When we get single targets, he's gonna just destroy it. Like, all of his damage potencies are increased with single targets. His EX hits twice if there's a single target, as opposed to when there's multiples, it's just AoE split once. It's a big difference. So we're like, okay, we got Leo for single targets, this will be great whenever we get single targets. And then they kind of just stopped giving us single targets. Anybody else notice that? It was like, going back to Tifa, when we got her, feels like we were getting single targets like crazy, so she was one of the best options. I mean, right after we got Tifa, what did we get? We had Kimari's event, which she destroyed when we just had the one dragon, not like the Lost Chapter where they gave us two. 8's Chaos was another one. Golbez's Chaos was another one. There were a ton of single target fights, and then we get Leo, and it's like, okay, what's not long after this? Okay, we have like Forum's Lost Chapter, that's 3 targets. And I'm trying to remember now because it was a while ago, but it seemed like a bunch of fights or multiple targets right after they gave us Leo. And then it was like, we got Diablos. Great, this is a single target, this will be awesome. And it resisted melee. And this is before we had Garnet or Fujin available. It was like, okay, why are you doing this to us? That's an LD. I'd be very curious to see how they bring him back around. I'd love to see it. I think he needs a rework too. Not just an LD. He needs more than that. But yeah, curious what other people's opinions are, and good memories from the Chaos era. I want to hear them. Do you see how nerfed these things are, by the way? These, like, knockoff hammer-wielding Kaiser Behemoths. They just keep exploding, and then when it gets to their turn, they just can't move. This isn't fun though. They get the white aura. And there's that awful damage reduction, barely hitting anything. No fun. Yeah, for those who didn't know, I don't know all the specifics of it. Someone will correct me, and please do. I don't know if it's guaranteed or if it's just a chance to, but Kefka's EX can insta-break. You see that 60k just went away with Kefka's EX? Yeah. That's part of his kit. It's probably some debuff condition or something like that. They have a certain amount of... Someone will correct me again. I don't know the conditions of it, but all I know is whenever an enemy has a shit ton of Brave, like I just saw, I've never seen Kefka's EX not break it. Good enough for me. I don't know if Ifrit was the best summon choice. I kind of just figured I'd help Emperor's traps hit harder. Ifrit does that really well. Like, Odin maybe would have worked too if I would have taken damage, but I decided I didn't want to take damage. So why let them hit us? Here we just go hard, keep it going, and take them out. Another good memory of mine was Leviathan's Chaos. It was pretty early on. That was the first time I can remember anyway that I first got a perfect score on a Chaos. That was, wow, you guys remember this team? That was Cloud, Charlotta, and a 0 out of 3 Warrior of Light with a Charlotta friend. That was my first perfect score 9s in a Chaos, was that stage. And I wanted to keep it going for as long as possible. Now that's, you know, evolved into 0 turns, and I've been having fun with it. We don't need these. We might as well just use them all anyway. Why not? One thing about Strago that I noticed, people seem to be worried about his dual cast going away. That really doesn't seem to be a problem with him. Everything he does, I didn't talk about Strago at all. Everything he does refreshes dual cast except for skill 1. Like his skill 2, his EX, and his LD, and his C65 all refresh the dual cast. So yeah, that's not going anywhere. Definitely be using him again. He's a lot of fun. He's real strong. Okay, challenge quest done. Feeny is next. Thanks for watching.